My name is Ethan Morgan, and I'm 17. Since my parents decided to retire out of state, I'm living with my grandmother for my senior year of high school. I wasn't told beforehand, but arrangements were made for me to stay with her. She's in her 50s, slender and striking, with blonde hair streaked by grey. Despite her snobbish nature, we've always gotten along well. She's wealthy and lives in a massive mansion, hidden behind tall stone walls with huge iron gates facing the street. When I was younger, I loved exploring the house, but I hadn't been there in months. After learning about the plan, I packed my things carefully. My dad helped move everything to my grandmother's house. Luckily, none of the boxes opened and my sister's clothes stayed hidden. I spent the day setting up my room, organizing my clothes and dresser. At dinner that night, my grandmother shocked me. She told me she had a garden club meeting the next afternoon and wanted Ava to accompany her. Her tone allowed no argument. "You know I live alone, and I was excited to have you here. But when your mother mentioned Ava, I realized having a girl would be much more enjoyable than a boy. If, as your mother says, you sometimes dress as a girl, then you can do so here too under some rules." Her soft voice was almost hypnotic, and the idea of dressing up sometimes made me smile. First, no pants with zippers or belts. Second, whenever you dress as a female, you must show yourself to me for approval. Third, your male bulge must never be visible. And finally, you must let me help with your appearance whenever you dress that way. It sounded simple enough, and without hesitation, I agreed. Now that's settled, go get dressed. I want to meet my granddaughter. I'd grown my hair out long, silky blonde strands reaching the middle of my back. I'd gone out a few times with my sister and knew I could pass reasonably well if I was careful. I'd learned to handle the fear of being discovered. When I dressed up, I looked good. I smiled at that thought. As I stood to change, grandmother added, "The garden club meets at 3. Be ready by 2. A nice summer dress will do, Ava." I stayed silent as she gave that knowing smile of hers. I discovered that pinning my hair back with a barrette, adding lipstick and blush, wearing a bra and a pretty blouse, made it hard for anyone to tell I was a guy. Feeling confident, I laid out my outfit to impress her. Over the past year, I'd found websites selling realistic female transformation items. With my allowance, I'd bought glued-on chest forms that stayed put for about 10 days. Since Grandma had started this, I wanted to do my best. I undressed and carefully positioned the chest forms in my bra. Once smoothed out, it looked like I had natural chests. Grinning, I headed to the bathroom to shave and wash. Setting up my makeup on the small counter, I applied light foundation, powder, soft pastel eyeshadow, and brown eyeliner above and below my eyes. On my cheeks, I blended a peach rose color I made myself. I'd been removing unwanted hair weekly, so my skin was still smooth. I slipped on panties, then shorts. The bra was a thin pink lace-trimmed 34A with demi-cups. Over it, I wore a pink shell top. My hair fell straight, framing my face in a golden halo. I went downstairs and found my grandmother on the patio. Walking up, I faced her. It was the first time she'd seen me dressed as a girl. "Good morning, Ava. You look very lovely today," she said. I stood quietly as she stood too, inspecting me closely. "You do look somewhat like a girl, but your posture needs work, and those nails definitely not right. Your hair needs attention immediately. And when you walked out, it was clear you still move like a boy. We can't fix everything today, maybe just a few things. I'll pick out some clothes for you to wear now, and starting tomorrow, we'll work on the rest." "Understood." I nodded and began to walk away, but she called me back. "Ava." I turned, and she reminded me, young ladies always curtsy when entering or leaving the presence of an older woman. I gave it my best shot, and she dismissed me with a wave. I didn't notice the faint smile that crossed her face as I headed back inside. On the bed lay a pile of clothes, clearly arranged by the housekeeper. Looking at the delicate lace and chiffon in pastel yellow and white, mixed with a corset, stockings, and panties, I wondered how I'd even get into them. I changed my panties and carefully tucked myself as usual, then struggled to fasten the corset. It was tight. Just as I was pulling on the laces, Mrs. Turner, the housekeeper, came in. "I'll help. You need to be this small to fit the dress, dear. Stand still." She tugged and pulled as I groaned, until my waist measured a trim 21 inches. Then she smoothed and massaged my skin at the front until she was satisfied. Looking down, I realized I had chest. She had me sit while she helped put on the stockings and fasten the garter straps tightly. "Your makeup's almost perfect. Let me add some mascara and brighten your blush a bit." The dress slipped over my head and buttoned from waist to neck. It had long sheer sleeves and a lace-trimmed round neckline. It swelled over my new curves, tapered to my narrow waist, and flared into a full skirt with 2 lace petticoats underneath. I stepped into white heels and turned toward the mirror. Mrs. Turner draped pearls around my neck and fastened them. She handed me perfume and showed me where to apply it, then gave me soft pink lipstick. "Sit here, Ava." She braided my hair down my back, tying it at the end with a yellow ribbon. "That looks a bit young for you, doesn't it?" she grunted, continuing to work. "Girls your age always wear ribbons. Carry this," she said, handing me a small white clutch. "Your grandmother is waiting on the patio. Don't keep her waiting." Walking in such a big dress was new to me, but Mrs. Turner taught me how to hold it up going down the stairs. I made my entrance onto the patio as gracefully as possible. "That's much better, Ava. Simply marvelous. Shall we go?" Of course, it wasn't a real question. The driver took us to the garden party, where I was introduced as her granddaughter, Ava. Hours later, when we returned, my waist ached painfully. "You did well today, Ava. Awkward here and there, but very good for a boy in a dress. You may change if you want. Dinner is in 2 hours." Mrs. Turner was ready to unlace my corset and help with the dress. After washing off my makeup, I went to find jeans, but they were all gone. I chose tan slacks, only to find the zipper was in the back. Checking the rest, all had zippers in the back or on the side, or were elastic-waisted. I slipped on the tan slacks. They fit tight around waist, hips, and rear, with my male bulge pressing against the fabric. Then I remembered her rules. These were women's pants. I tucked myself again and fastened the slacks, then reached for a shirt. I wanted a simple white one, but found a white blouse with a round neck and puffed short sleeves. I realized her plan. Even the loafers were replaced by flats. I put them on and joined her in the parlor. With my hair still braided, I looked like a girl, and she knew it. "So you found something to wear?" "Yes, but they're all girls' clothes." She didn't break her smile. "Remember the rules. No pants with front zippers or belts." "You agreed, so I provided slacks that fit those rules." "Yes, but you may wear a skirt or anything else in your closet. I won't force you to dress as a girl, only made sure you have clothes that follow the rules. If you want to wear slacks and act like a boy, you may." She'd put me in a no-win situation. Either wear women's slacks and risk teasing or dress fully as a girl and look normal. "You tricked me." "No, dear, I didn't. I explained the rules clearly, and you agreed. Now stop complaining. Sit down, let's talk about what to do next." Deep down, I wanted to dress as a girl, but I wasn't ready to admit that to my grandmother. "Your sister told me you've gone out dressed as a girl before. That shows you like it, so don't deny it. I'll let you keep dressing this way, and won't force any changes. You just need to ask for help if you want it. If it's reasonable, I'll make sure you get it. All I ask is that you follow the rules you agreed to." I felt anger, but kept quiet. "Do you want me to help you?" If I said no, I'd never leave the house without harsh teasing. If I said yes, I had no idea what she might do. I had no real choice, and she knew it. "What kind of help did you have in mind?" "There's no reason, except illness, why a girl your age should need a corset to wear a dress like the one you had on today. You really should join a class to help with weight loss." At the garden party, I saw how hard you worked to appear feminine, and you did well, but it was clearly effortful. Femininity should come naturally, not be forced. So I think some lessons in poise and grace would help. And if you didn't rely on that corset, you wouldn't need those silly silicone chest forms. Since very few girls your age need those, maybe some help there as well. She leaned closer, locking eyes with me. I take aerobics every morning at 8. You can come with me. They'll help you reach a healthier weight for a young lady your age. I also know someone who can teach you grace and poise. As for the rest, you'll need to agree in person. I hesitated. For the aerobics class, do I go as Ava or Ethan? That's your choice, dear. But you might want to try on your exercise outfit before deciding. You'll find it in your room. If you choose to go as Ava, we'll need to take care of your bust line first. I found the outfit, a tight pink and purple spandex set. Almost ready to cry, I was startled when grandmother entered the room. Good. I see you found it. Why are you doing this to me? I'm not doing anything to you. I gave you choices, and you made them. You can always leave, but where would you go? Your parents moved away to retire. Your sister has twins, a small house, and a husband to care for. When you wore that dress to the garden party, you admitted that's what you wanted to be. Don't you see? She stepped closer, wiped my tears, and hugged me. If you want to be a girl, I promise you'll be a true lady in every way. But we can't keep fighting and insulting each other. Now tell me, do you want to be a girl your age? Can I dress my age? Of course. I nodded and collapsed against her shoulder. Now that's settled, I'll call the doctor. What will he do? I don't know, Ava. We'll find out together. Grandmother made the call and told me I had an appointment in the morning. We'll skip aerobics tomorrow, but be ready by 9. Mrs. Turner will lay out your clothes again. I can dress myself, Grandma. She studied me a moment, then nodded. The next morning, knowing what awaited, I wore a skirt and blouse, light makeup, flats, and tied my hair in a ponytail. I looked 17. Grandma waited in the parlor. You look lovely, dear. Eat your breakfast, then we'll go. The drive was short, and soon I was in the doctor's office, surrounded by the sterile smell of a medical building. After my name was called, we entered the exam room. The doctor was briefed, then asked me to undress. He performed a physical exam, then called grandmother back. So, you want me to give her a bust that matches a girl her age? That would help, doctor. I'll need her for most of the day. Can you return at 2? Certainly. Grandmother left, and the doctor led me next door to his small clinic. I changed into a paper gown and, without explanation, he gave me a shot in the arm. Then, nothing until I woke up. I felt no soreness, but the way the sheet shifted told me I now had chests. How big, I didn't know. The nurse helped me sit up and walk to the bathroom. Your clothes are hanging here, dear. You can get dressed if you want. I removed the gown and saw them for the first time. Small, pert, perfect. Twin mounds no boy had. I touched them, soft, pliable, pointers tender. No scars or stitches were visible until I pulled on my panties and saw 2 small stitches near my navel. The biggest surprise was my waist seemed smaller, confirmed by how my panties fit. My hips felt wider somehow, though I had no idea how that happened. The skirt fit better, looser, and my bra held my new chests perfectly. The feeling was unfamiliar, but I admitted I liked it. Grandma took me home and insisted on seeing the doctor's work once we were in my room. I stripped down to my panties, and she carefully examined me. He told me he took nearly 5 inches off your waist, said it was mostly excess fat, and used it to shape your chests and make your hips fuller and rounder. She measured me with a tape and wrote down the numbers. Looks like you'll need all new underwear sizes, Ava. How about we go shopping tomorrow and get everything you need? I eagerly agreed. After she left, I realized I had to deal with my male bulge. In the bathroom, I found some flesh-colored medical tape and bandages along with scissors. First, I shaved my groin, yanking tape off would be too painful with hair. Then I cut a small rectangle from the bandage and made a slit in a foot-long piece of tape. Splitting the tape's end, I used the bandage to push my private organs back, securing them with tape. Covering the tip of my male organ with cotton, I pulled the tape up, tucking everything inside and fastening it tightly. I made sure I could urinate easily, and I could. When I put my panties back on, it looked like I had a small female cleft. I pulled on my tight tan slacks and joined Grandma for dinner. The next morning, I slipped into the aerobics outfit and joined the class after breakfast. It was the first time I'd seen Grandma in anything but formal clothes, and she was stunning. Her body was lithe, agile, perfectly toned. I nearly passed during the workout while she barely broke a sweat. Afterward, she drove us to the mall and surprised me again. In my daydreams, I'd imagined being in a salon, having my hair styled for prom and my makeup done, an experience I'd never had except when with my mom or sister, and I was always scared then. I'd only been shopping once as a girl, and even then my sister took the lead. Now, Grandma made it possible for me to shop with her without worry. Grandma didn't comment on my exercise outfit at first, so I assumed she hadn't noticed. But on the way to the mall, she asked how I managed it. When I told her, she giggled the first time I'd heard her laugh. Inventive, Ava. I hope it's comfortable. It is, Grandma. So far, at least. I wore a backless sundress with a single strap around my neck, flats, and my hair in a ponytail. I booked appointments for both of us at the beauty salon. I told them my granddaughter was making her debut today. She led the way inside, and soon I was getting pampered. What happened over the next 2 hours exceeded my wildest dreams. Treated like any other girl, my hair was washed and set with perfumed lotion, then rolled into curlers of all sizes. Sitting under the dryer, a manicurist trimmed and filed my nails, then painted them a reddish pink that matched my lipstick perfectly. After the rollers came out, a stylist spent half an hour trimming, brushing, and teasing my hair. Another artist did my makeup. When she spun me toward the mirror, I nearly fainted from joy. I looked like a 17-year-old cover girl ready for commercials for bubble baths, perfumes, or sleek cars. My makeup was flawless, pink tones and blush highlighting cheekbones, wide, innocent eyes shadowed in blue to match my own, outlined in black to accentuate almond shapes, thick, upswept lashes, full, soft lips in creamy reddish-pink gloss. My fantasy had come true. My hair was permed into waves framing my face, with tighter curls cascading down to just above my shoulders. Both ears were pierced with small gold hoops that swung gently as I moved. I gasped at my ringlets, and the stylist giggled. "It looks darling on you." She adjusted a small pink satin ribbon pinned with a gold filigree flower barrette to the right side of my hair. The ribbon's ends flowed softly against my curls. I stood, looked in the mirror, and saw Grandma smiling behind me. "Do you like it?" "Oh yes, Grandma. Thank you. We have a long day ahead, Ava." "Ready?" After we picked out my properly sized undergarments, Grandma suggested, "Why don't we find a pretty dress for the spring dance at the country club?" I wanted to shout yes, but by the time we reached the dress shop, my arms ached from all the shopping bags. It was a relief to set them down. We chose several dresses for me to try on. In the dressing room, wearing just panties, pantyhose, a bra, and slip, layers of crinolines were slipped over my head. Whenever I moved, they crinkled loudly. When I stepped out, Grandma was waiting with my dress. As I raised my arms, the rustling fabric settled gently at my waist and shoulders. "This time," she gasped. "Oh, that's the prettiest dress." She tied satin ribbons at my wrists, zipped me up the back, and worked the sash ribbons into a bow. Then she smoothed and arranged the tiers of pink, white, and blue ruffles on the full, sweeping skirt. Once everything was perfect, she handed me a lipstick and asked me to touch up my lips. Then, using a scented sachet, she sprayed an expensive French perfume on my wrists and neck. Leading me to a full-length mirror, she studied my reflection, smiled, and giggled. "Is this what you imagined, Ava?" She gently placed her hands on my shoulders and told me to spin. As I twirled, the soft rustle of my crinolines and the sway of my curls overwhelmed me. I burst into uncontrollable giggles, just like a schoolgirl. Looking up at her, I said, "Wow, Grandma, this is amazing. How did you know?" She didn't answer but simply smiled as I gazed at myself in the mirror. 17 and never been kissed, I murmured. "That won't last long," she replied. She helped me change out of the dress, and we arranged to have it sent to the house. That summer, I took ballet for poise and grace, aerobics for fitness, and by the time school started, I weighed 118 pounds with a 34-20-34 figure. I simply couldn't go back to being my male self. At prom, I wore that pink dress, just like I'd dreamed. If you appreciated this story and wish to show your support, don't forget to join me on Patreon for exclusive content.